This week on PTL, we've got Sjokz and Quickshot coming at you from Berlin. Jatt Kobe return for another edition of This or That, and I'm going to give you the hottest tips on how to throw. Baby, PrimeTime League starts right now!
Everyone back up, let's pick up the kill! Penta kill for Sunstar!
TSM will take the game and the series, still undefeated.
18 kills in 21 minutes. That sounds like an LPL match. All 18 are to SKT.
Hello and welcome to PrimeTime League. I am Rivington Bisman III. This figment of my imagination is David Freak Turley, and I'm going to right punch him in the arm to see if he's real.
Ow.
David's
I'm
here.
real.
G2 Esports announced earlier this week that Kikis would no longer be their starting top laner. They will now turn to their Korean import, Expect, who so far has only started in one game for the team.
And he lost it. So congrats G2 being 7-1, and they subbed out Kikis and they lost. But honestly, like with this new top laner, I anticipate that he's going to be better. Honestly, the ceiling I think is actually higher with him because I respect Kikis a lot. You know, he was a jungler. He did cool things like jungle TF. He's really good at identifying things that are strong. But he's not a career top laner, right? His mechanics are not quite there, and now you've got to be able to play things like Aurelia to compete in the top lane right now. The best top laner is no longer Maokai. So I think this is better in the long run, especially if the top lane pool stays the way it is and plays as kind of champions. It might take them some time, but I think, honestly, this is the best choice for G2 if they want to do well at Worlds.
There's always time. They got time. They're actually in a good position being on the forefront of the scoreboard so they can kind of continue to keep themselves there.
Yep.
Hopefully now putting Expect in the top lane. In Korea, SKT had a perfect game against MVP and gave everyone who was watching dynamic Q PTSD. Sorry, MVP. SKT are the real MVP here. It was one of the most dominant performances we've seen so far in the LCK, and if it's any consolation for MVP, we've all had one of those games.
I haven't. I never lose like that. No, I haven't. Yeah, SKT smashed them. 16,000 gold lead in 20 minutes, 8.2 kills per minute. Bang had more gold than both the other solo laners combined. It was bad. It was rough, and you know, sometimes at Worlds, you see games and people are like, I don't even know why they invite wildcard teams. Well, here's a match for a team that qualified for the LCK, okay? I don't want to hear you crap about Korea's talent pool so deep that we should send 10 teams to Worlds when I'm just, you know, we're going to move on. But
We digress.
Yeah, it was rough. Go ahead.
All right. Now we want to give a PTL shout out to Reddit user Lily Katna, who brought to life one of our most treasured last hits on PTL.
Yeah, thank you very much for showing us to, you know, not just let our memes be dreams. You'll always have a place in our hearts. I actually was super happy I saw that.
It was great.
I don't want to smell you.
Okay. What's better than watching the LCS games on the weekend? Not a whole lot. Don't even think about it. But if anything was close, it would be listening to the players' cons in this week's edition of Mic Check.
Hello guys.
Dragon Fist?
Hello guys.
I use Acolyte.
I'm JBM.
Rick Fox gets the W's, and we're gonna get the W's.
He gets the championships.
The championship. We're all gonna be champions by the end of this series.
We're here to win against Echo Fox, so Shaq can be proud.
Let's go. Item outside.
Nice! Good job.
Can you please? Why?
Why?
Why are you so jelly? Because I'm so good at singing?
But that was last game. This game is a new day, a new dawn. It's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good.
Oh my god.
Go, go, go!
I get Penta! I get Penta!
Steal it, steal it!
I get Penta!
Should I steal it? Do I steal it?
I got him.
Oh, where? I get Penta, I get Penta! I'm speed!
Give it to him, give him. Go push mid.
Push mid. Penta.
There's actually no such thing as a mistake in League. There's only being too aggressive.
Yeah.
Agreed.
T2 and base and go Drake.
Okay, I think
more if you want.
I think more.
Oh, really?
No. It's risky.
Yeah, base and go Drake.
They might have double TP.
Yeah, base and go Drake.
Base and Drake, we have Nash still.
Okay, hashtag no greed.
The world could use more heroes. The world could use more side stones.
If I'm gonna die, flash in and save my KDA.
Yeah, a flash
Just
and...
body block me.
Hey, for
Severe.
I'm on my way.
I have him.
Help my boy. Help my boy.
Go in. Okay, go ahead.
Nice. Oh my god, I was so scared that you will die.
Do you smell it, Hilly?
What? The victory?
Smell of a winning.
So, just to win, guys.
Thank you.
Good strategy.
Nice victory speech.
Yep, just to win and take a win.
Just to win and take the win. Yep, we got this.
No matter how far behind we fall or how far ahead we get, we need to keep talking.
Yep, that's all.
About what to do next, how to win the game.
Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, just have fun.
I just want you guys to play the best you guys can today. Enjoy yourself.
Yep, thank you.
Regardless what happens.
I'm gonna out Maokai. Maokai.
I got AD, I got AD. We win.
Okay, yeah, Maokai.
Kindred.
I got
I'm gonna like Kindred.
Hey,
We got it here.
Okay.
Wait, can you kill that guy?
Cannon.
Yeah.
Let's go. And
Nice.
Woo!
Oh, that feels good, dude.
Finally.
That feels good.
Feels great. Yeah. You know what also feels great? Doing the LCS in 1 minute, and TSM are looking hotter than Freak's mom.
What does that even mean?
I just went with the first thing on my mind. They capped off a stellar start to the split with a win over Immortals and will want to hold on to that momentum as they take on a dangerous-looking Cloud9 this Friday.
Team Envy are also up there at the top of the table, but will face some real challenges this weekend when they take on Immortals and Counter Logic Gaming. Now, this is provided that CLG actually becomes a challenge, though, because they've still been pretty rough since MSI, but hopefully they do improve a little bit and get out of the bottom half of the table.
Both Apex and Echo Fox had weekends that won't live long in their memory, while Liquid and Energy picked up their first series wins of the split. Still, that whole bunch is kind of looking shaky.
Man, they were playoff teams last time around.
Yep.
Finally, on to Phoenix One, who are now the sole owner of last place, the only match winless team in the North American LCS. They're still hoping for some kind of series win. They'll get their chance against Liquid and Apex, two teams that, they do have a chance of beating.
You did well, Freak.
Thanks.
I think it was a great job. I think we kept it almost under 1 minute. Now, there are a couple things I kind of want to deep dive into in this, and you can stay for this. First up is TSM. They've had a fantastic start to the split, and while there were question marks around Biofrost, he is turning those suckers into exclamation points.
Honestly, yeah, huge respect for Biofrost. He's been just completely amazing. His Bard is insane. Game-winning ultimates, the Bard Zillion combo definitely awesome as well. And TSM, I think are smashing. I think they're the best team in NA right now. As far as KDA goes, they are second. Gold lead at 10, really up there as well. Honestly, like this is super solid. They're going to be taking on Cloud9 Friday, which will be a great match. Well, I think C9 is number 3 in NA right now. So, stellar teams right here, and it's good to see them on top.
They're looking very good. We'll see how they do as it continues. Team Envy are also on a roll at the moment and sit at the top of the table with TSM. They've had a relatively easy schedule leading up to this point, however. So in their next 4 matches, they will have their mettle tested as they take on Immortals, CLG, Cloud9, and TSM. So that sounds like quite the rite of passage if I've ever heard.
Well, that's what happens, right? If your schedule's been easy so far, the rest of it is all the hard teams, and shocking, here you go, the difficult ones. But Seraph and Ninja, these are still the guys who look at, they're the big sort of veterans here. 12 unique champions between the two of them, which is only in 10 games, so, pretty good amount of new things picked up. And it's nice because it allows them to be really varied, where they can just kind of pick the same sort of safe stuff in the bot lane. That's kind of what their bot lane is about. They're pretty safe, they're low risk, and that's okay to just be an insurance policy down, when you're Laud and Hakuho. So I think it's a good formula, but we'll see how they do against top teams.
Playmakers, we'll see if they can continue to make plays against the top team's defense. On the flip side of this, I also want to talk about Counter Logic Gaming. Yeah. Is this a result now of a burnout from MSI, or are we witnessing bigger fundamental problems with the team here?
So I don't think it's like a motivational burnout thing. I think it's more the fact that they don't really know what's going on yet. And that, at a certain point, becomes concerning. Like week 1, I give you a pass. Week 2, you still don't look a whole lot better, and it's like, CLG, like what really are you doing right now? And I mean, I don't know. Like, I still expect them to get better at some point. Like, this is the team that was always built on teamwork and good coaching, and I think that's still there. I can't see why it wouldn't. So everything that I know about the team tells me that they will improve, but it's slower than I expected it to be.
It has to be concerning. You look what they did at MSI against SKT. Yeah, they felt ahead of the patch, but do they have to feel just ahead of the patch and bring out a range support or something else new in a lane to do that internationally? Because G2 went back home. Right. They're doing great. SKT went back home. They're doing great.
Exactly. And that's one of the big things. Like, we're seeing other teams just continue their success. And which is, again, why I think, like, this is a bit slow for CLG. Week 1 I could forgive. Week 2 less so. If week 3 sucks as well, something's seriously wrong.
Well, hopefully the best of 3s are a place where they can get enough time on the Rift to start righting those wrongs.
Definitely helps.
Welcome back to This or That. I am Jatt. This is Kobe. We've done this a few times by now. And I'm skeptical about the production's ability to consistently give us delightful slides because the past few have been decent, but we've done like 3 in a row now, so I'm not really sure. Anyway, let's see the first one. Yeah.
All right, pop it up.
Who tilts harder?
Ooh,
Huni tilts really hard.
You have to be impressive. Huni has tilted on the world stage, so I'm gonna go with this.
Me too. Me too. I'm going with this.
I mean, he's making a good case for himself, but I gotta go.
I mean, any given tilt can be greater than the last, but Huni's pretty hard tilter here. Let's see the next slide here. Who will lose this weekend, TSM or Envy?
Oh, TSM's not gonna lose. I'm not gonna bet against TSM.
Woo!
I would go with Envy.
Yeah, so like based on strength of schedule, TSM has played more difficult teams so far, but they also have to play Cloud9 like right off the bat. But I'll go that TSM will not lose this weekend.
Come over to this
So you have to say Envy will lose.
I mean that side.
That will lose.
Come over to that side.
Now I'm off my mark.
All right.
Okay, let's get to the next one. Xpeke or Forgiven. Well, we know what Origin. Well, no, Origin didn't get to choose because he stepped down, I think, or they benched him, or.
Well, this is not even a question.
Yeah.
I mean,
is it for AD
who's
carry?
better? Who's better looking? Who's nicer? Who would you like to go?
Better ADC, apparently, has been the clarification.
Oh, okay.
Forgiven is a better ADC.
Yeah. Like, I love Xpeke.
Especially like over a long period of time, I'll go with him. Obviously, Origin.
I know, it's pretty clear.
Yeah, all right. We'll go to the next
one.
one.
As long as the question is best AD
Yeah, it's
carry.
like, who's better owner of a franchise? You're like, well, probably Peke. More dominant player in their sport. LeBron James or Faker. They're trying to get like the ESPN headlines in here.
Let's get those.
Like, who's the best?
Yeah.
So personally, I do think LeBron has been the best player in the league for like 7 straight years.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, man. Steph Curry here.
Steph Curry this year was better than LeBron James.
Warriors,
if
baby.
you look about the finals, they say Curry's injured. LeBron's been spectacular in there.
True.
Faker, though, has been like the best mid laner for, like, here's the thing. Are you thinking about the history of the sport? Or are you thinking about actual timelines? Because, like, LeBron has been dominant for longer.
It depends on how you define most dominant.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Faker.
All right, fine. You're the League of Legends fan. I'll go with LeBron James. I like the NBA.
Okay.
Let's go to the next one. Who will
I'm a
win,
Warriors fan. I'm from
H2K or
Oakland,
G2? H2 what?
Oh, who is going to win?
H2 this.
Oh, this is a good match.
I think this will win because of the Kikis shuffle.
Oh, yeah. I kind of have to side with that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime you have somebody leaving like that, it's going to cause a little bit of friction.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Do we have any more slides? I think we might. Best hair, Quas or Bob Ross? Bob Quas. Bob Ross. Quas needs at least like another year of growth.
You also got to count the hair on the face. This is not just, it says hair. That's not just head hair.
Yeah. Bob Ross is far too classic.
All right, we both go Bob then.
This is it. The last
Happy little
one
hair
is always goofy. That's a trend I can pick up on.
Oh, that was the last one. We're done.
That was the last one. We're good.
Finished today
That's
early.
It for this or that. Hit us up, LOL Esports. Let us know whose side you're on. You can hashtag this, hashtag that, hashtag this or that. You can tweet at Chat. You can tweet at Kobe. You have all the options with the Twitter, and we'll catch you next week.
Hello, everyone. It's time for Twitter, which means it's time for me to come up with even more elaborate ways to tell you that all of you suck a whole lot. Last week, we asked you which 0-2 team would suck a bit less and win the most games among those teams. And for a spot in the Hall of Fame, we also wanted you to tell us what their team KDA would be for the week. Now, if your answer featured Liquid or Energy, then congratulations, you are one of the people who didn't suck quite as much and got it right. Props to you guys. They both won 3 games, also 1 match, because that's how that would work, of course. So massive props to those teams and to those of you. 5 of you said Energy. Massive, awesome, good job. 26 of you believed in Liquid, and that means 31 of you were awesome PTL fans and guessed properly and raised your Twitter game from bad to just mediocre. But there's one lone wolf out there who stepped it up, even from mediocre to amazing. The Hall of Fame now has a new member. Welcome, Caleb Ahern. Sorry for butchering your name. at real_Bender. That's you, who successfully predicted energy and had the team KDA of 4.5. Massive congrats to Caleb. You are fighting the good fight. Well done. Now, this week's question. We talked about teams that hadn't won anything. How about teams that are pretty much only winning? There are 5 teams that have not yet lost a match. TSM, Envy, G2, H2K, and Rocket. We want to know which of these undefeated teams will lose a match this weekend. And for a spot in the Hall of Fame, tell us what their total number of deaths will be across the entire weekend. Some caveats, though. You can't just get away with only one team. If you say it's 0, by the way, that's fine. If you say it's none, that's okay. We'll accept that. Congratulations. That won't be very hard. But if multiple teams will lose, you have to tell us all of those teams that lose matches. Plural. Yes, you can't just pick one and squeak by like we did with this week's question. It's going to be a difficult one. In fact, it's so hard, I'm not going to say it, my own answer on air. I'm going to tweet it out because I need to do some research, figure out who they're playing. Hit us up on Twitter, @LLEsports. Use the hashtag PTL. Your answers will be on air if you get the good ones up there, so good luck. Now, I'm going to do something that I've always wanted to do because I've never learned how to jungle, and it's toss to myself. So, Freak, take it with fantasy. Thanks very much, Freak. And by the way, you are looking just so sharp. I mean, just nicely done, you know? Anyway, guys, welcome to our PTL Fantasy segment where I hang out with this guy and he tells you lots of smart things. This week, I'm going to go with Optional Dom. Optional Dom, how you doing?
Well, I just figured out why no one wants to toss to you, so I'm doing pretty good.
Okay, well, that was, yeah. Let's talk studs. Who's going to be awesome this week in PTL or in fantasy in general?
Well, it's a little bit surprising because the top 2 studs in fantasy are both from the same team in Roccat, and then the third guy is actually Otawamne, who's the top laner for H2K. Both Roccat players have been putting up massive amounts of fantasy points. Steelback especially has the most fantasy points per game in both leagues, so that's really good. Otawamne has a little bit of a tough matchup this week going up against G2, but if you think they're going to be one of those teams that close out the weekend with a 4-0 in games, he's going to be putting up a lot of fantasy points.
Okay, so actually some good points. And yeah, Rocket actually doing pretty well as a team is something to kind of keep in mind. One of the up-and-comers. Let's talk about duds then. Who's kind of sucking a whole lot?
All right, well, these guys are really popular. They have more than a 70% ownership rate, but they're not going to do too well. And unfortunately for NA fans, 2 of them are from CLG. That's Aphromoo and Darshan. They're not exactly putting up the most points, and they're
losing.
They are losing a lot. Aphromoo actually has a higher ownership rate than a lot of supports above him combined, like Xpecial and Hakuo. They have very low ownership rates. Aphromoo has like a 90-point-something%. Darshan, too, almost around that 90% point area. He's 16th in top laners for fantasy points per game. You could find a lot better guys out there.
At the very least, bench them, find someone else to put on. Kickus obviously at 0.
Speaking of benching.
Yeah, not on the roster anymore. Maybe he'll get picked up by a new LCS team, but right now he's 0 for sure this week. Don't even think about that one. Now let's talk about risky picks. Who could be really good and you know, if you need someone.
So this is where you take a gamble on some of your picks. I'm going to start off with Pole Belter from Immortals because it seems like a natural choice to go for. Yeah. Immortals have been putting up a steady amount of fantasy points. They don't stomp games like they used to, so the longer games go, the more fantasy points you guys are going to get. So Pole Belter could put up a lot of points this week.
And at least TSM's out of the way.
TSM is out of the way, so those were very stompy games. They put up a decent fight in the last one, though. Yeah. So lots of fantasy points if you're in a best game scenario.
True.
Well, the other 2 aren't exactly as... You wouldn't think of them to be kind of risky picks. Well, you think of them to be risky. You wouldn't think of them to put up a lot of points, and that's Dardoch and Keith. Dardoch especially hasn't had the best performances. Team Liquid in general hasn't had the best performances, but right now, they haven't played the longest games, and they're going up against Energy, who plays the longest games in the LCS. So has a chance to put up a decent amount of points this week.
Okay.
And Keith, he's going up against Immortals, which is scary, but Immortals, for all the fantasy points they score, they also give up a lot of fantasy points in general, the most to the AD carry role. So if you got to roll the dice on a flex pick, you might want to go with Keith.
Okay, if you need some people on the roster, that's going to be the thought. Thank you very much for your time, and that's all the fantasy we've got here for today. But for more in-depth analysis, go to LOLesports.com and check out our fantasy draft guide for the weekend.
What's up, guys? Sjokz and Quickshot here to look back on week 2 of the European LCS as well as look ahead to week 3. And the first thing I got to ask you about is Origin, playing with Xpeke in the ADC role and getting 2 ties. How did that happen?
You know, I don't know. I actually think Xpeke didn't have a terrible game. I think he undervalued his positioning a little bit more because he gave up a few kills.
That's Silverflash.
Exactly. But I also think he brought a value to the team that, you know, you can't put a name on, a calmness, a shot calling element to the team. So I want to see whether or not Xpeke continues to get better at ADC or if they find an ADC role that will replace him. It's questions, but it's nice seeing Origin on a slightly more positive trend. It just needs to be more. I mean, this is a team that plays second in spring.
Yeah, it was a world semi-finalist. On the other hand, a team that we had high hope for as well, Vitality and them for themselves with their new AD carry. They seem to be in a bit of a slump. It's only week 2, but they already had a split to practice with most of these players.
They did. And, you know, the substitution, again, earlier in the split is better than later. I think there's a small raya of hope in their new ADC. I like seeing a kid who is young, who's hungry, wants to prove himself, and plays Vayne in his opening game. I just think the rest of the squad still needs to step up. We're seeing a bunch of players who've been around a very long time, and the expectations was 1, 2, 3, and they're constantly only aiming at 4, 5, 6. So it's just something the whole team really has to step up to show off.
Yeah, Vitality and Origin respectively placed 9 and 10 in the league. We wouldn't have thought that. And Splyce and Roccat find themselves in the middle of the tables and putting on great showings.
Absolutely fantastic. Both of these teams have really stepped up in summer. You know, Roccat for their late game team fighting. We were talking off air about how they're weak early game. And, you know, Airwax was very frank. I had a good interview with him. He said, look, the reason Roccat has a bad early game is my fault. Until I'm a better jungler, it's not going to be different. And I like hearing that honesty. I also think that's a good sign for how the team can continue to improve.
Yeah, true. On the side of Splyce, also very good signs, and it seems that the players that we maybe undervalued or thought weren't coming out of their shell are now because of that one-stop substitution in the support role.
Yeah, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Like, Mickey seems to have unlocked Kobe in some ways. Trashy's had some very good games. The thing about Splyce, they need to learn to be more proactive, because the games that they've won is because they're punishing opponents' mistakes. So I want to see how they continue to grow, and now there's expectations on Splyce and on Roccat. They're aiming higher up the table. Can they keep that growth? Can they maintain the control? Because that's the test of a truly good team.
Yeah, we have to see how far they can go. Obviously, right now, the top of the tables in Europe is 1 G2, 2 H2K, 3 Fnatic, and G2 versus H2K is our match of the week, with Expect in the top lane for G2.
Yeah, big news. I mean, Kickers, he officially steps down. He basically said, look, I want to play full-time or look elsewhere. And the team said, okay, we're going to go with Expect. It's a tough decision to make, but I think there's potential, there's headroom for this guy. We've seen him in one game on Irelia. I don't know, the jury's still out, but I think in terms of the matchup, I don't feel that Oda is miles ahead of Expect, and I don't think he's going to be able to punish hard enough. So I think G2 should still be a favorite in the match of the week, but if Odo shows up and like completely poops on Expect, then my prediction goes out the window.
All right, we will see what happens in the European LCS this week.
To know the pro or not to know the pro? That is the question. It also happens to be a question we asked you earlier in the week when we showed you this set of lips to see if you were up to speed on your pro players. If you guessed deft, then you... absolutely not deft. That's better. Thank you, guys. Originally hailing from Korea, Deft was one of the members of Samsung Blue who made it to the World Semifinal back in 2014. From there, he went on to play for Edward Gaming and became a 2015 MSI champion. Gotta feel good. With EDG, he currently has a 6.25 KDA with a 76.1% kill participation and a 31% kill share. Not too shabby. And while we were talking about Deft, it seems like a good time as any to head into the regional rundown. In the LPL, things are looking very similar to where we left off last week. Snake continues to rise with another 2 wins and are tied for second in Group A with Game Talent. Edward Gaming and Royal Never Give Up lead Group A and Group B respectively, which brings us to our BF match of the week. Yeah!
It's going to be amazing. Both the teams 5-0 in match, topping their group. It's also a bit of a 2014 Samsung reunion. You got Looper, Pawn, Deft, Mata. It's also a finals rematch from last split. Like, everything tells you these are the teams to watch in China, the top 2 teams. It's a way to gauge the strength of the group so you can power rank your favorite team based on which one wins and then smack talk the one to the other side.
I'm excited. You can check out our BF match of the week as EDG take on RNG bright and early tomorrow morning or later tonight, depending on how you look at it. Haha! Moving on, Raisin has returned to the LMS after being banned, and what a better way to return to the big stage than being focused like crazy and having your Penta stolen by a chilling smite. Welcome back, kiddo.
Yeah, you can see him right here in action playing League of Legends, Caitlyn, which makes it actually very easy. It's like, all right, this is his for sure, this is yours, and then Scumbag Rek'Sai. Complete Scumbag Rek'Sai. Thanks very much for being the worst player possible.
Look how elated he is.
I would just slash FF right then and just be like, yeah, I don't want to win anymore.
That's when your team actually goes with it and you don't want that to happen.
I've actually thankfully never had that like accidental surrender vote because I always vote no when those happen, and it's like it passes 3-2 like all the time.
It is good to see that he's back playing, though. Obviously,
Yes.
getting a quadra kill back in his first game back isn't going to suck. The Penta kill would have been better. But
Yeah, then he could have tied Wild Turtle as being equally awesome. Didn't happen, though.
Over to the LCK, and SKT are proving that they are still the dominant force in League of Legends. Not only did they beat Samsung Galaxy, who at the time were the only other undefeated team in the LCK, they're just also coming off a perfect game, as we mentioned earlier in the show. So one and the other, they're just compiling on more awesomeness.
Yeah, 18-0-32, no turrets, no dragons, etc. in that game against MVP, which is insane. And honestly, these guys are just so far ahead of everybody when SKT are on. It's insane. They haven't even dropped a game, let alone a match in Korea. These guys are just straight ridiculous.
It's cool to see, but it hurts hopes, man.
But like, that's okay, because then you'd be like, hey, second place is still cool.
There goes my hopes. So this is how the rest of the standings shape up as we continue. I'm just taking all the time in the world.
That's fine. So SKT, shockingly, the sole possessors of first place over in Korea. Jin Air, Samsung, Rocks, Tigers are right behind them. CJ Entis and 2 challenger teams. MVP, still struggling, really. They're trying.
They can do what they can, but you have SKT at the top of the table. There's not much you can do anyways. We'll see what they can do internationally. Now we know you don't have the time to watch all the league action coming at you from across all of the regions, so we thought we'd help you out by putting together a video with the top plays from around the world, or as Sunstar can now call it with Aruga, the Penta.
Coming in at number 5, Giant Sunstar came up huge as he picked up the Penta kill.
Great dredge line from Chachi, but Maxwell kind of lined himself up, but now Giants are going to come into the fight. Big Emperor's Divide, he is CC'd up for now, but the rest of the Giants are coming into this one. Veritas goes down, Move is dead, Exile not even here on the map right now, and Hilasign can't even escape. He'll be dropping, trying to draw people away. That'll be a quadra kill for Sunstar, who's just picking up kills left and right. Chachi, maybe they'll set him up for the Penta. They're setting him up, they're setting him up.
There's nowhere where he can really go, and they can CC him forever.
All right, everyone back up, let's Sunstar pick up the kill. Penta kill for Sunstar.
From Latin America North, Revenge Esports Iruga welcomed Brawl Esports to the League of Draven with his Penta kill.
Los muchachos de Brawl, destino apacible que conecta en 3 miembros de Revenge. Les dio el tiempo de asesinar a Rom, pero cuidado con Prashant que puede caer. Guiche muy bajito de vida. Rapid está haciendo de las suyas con el resto de Revenge, pero lo asesinaron. Apareció Iruga una vez más. También va a caer ahí Rapid, Acerola, otro asesinato triple para Iruga.
Y ahora sí el cuadra.
Excelente lo de Revenge.
Bueno.
Ahora sí, el Penta. Asesinato cuádruple, quíntuple, Penta kill para Iruga. Se cierra esta partida sí o sí, JJ.
Bouncing into number 3 from the Oceanic Pro League, Avant-Garde landed the ultimate Wombo combo.
They want to engage. Triple's burst is huge. Oh, in he goes. Massive Chaos Storm. Look at the ultimate on 4. AB with the Wombo combo to end all Wombo combo. Survival Alone now wants to get his revenge on the tree. Triple kill comes out for Triple. And AB couldn't have set that up any better. Let's have a look at it again. Yeah, you can even see it happening. Shelby charges it up. He's ready to go. Just lands in the picture-perfect place to get all of the knockups. And Yasuo to follow it.
Flying in at number 2, from the EU Challenger Series, Team Forge's Jizuki swooped up a double kill in this 1v4.
So Millennium are able to outlast through that fight, and finally, oh, the hook onto Jizuki.
Let's do one more, says Millennium. They're gonna burn through the Swain, or are they? Long slow goodbye, Kaze, is he gonna get turned down? Jizuki, what are you doing? Why won't you die, Bird? Oh my God, double kill Jizuki, are you kidding me?
At number 1, from Latin America South, KMV's Plugo melted HAF for the Foxes to pick up the 4v5 quadra kill.
Pero al menos le permite desposicionarse a los jugadores de Hamnet y asegurar la torreta. Cuidado, ver, casi cambia el enfoque de inmediato. Jurastitas es castigado, un frostbite directo, la mordida de hielo. Y cuidado, media vuelta se lanzaba Plugo, intenta dejar todos sus puestos, los masacra brutalmente, pero llega Baladio del Cordero, los levanta del más allá, pero parece no ser suficiente. Entraba con todo KMB, cuidado, una masacre por ambos lados, 4 muertes en total. The Fox queda en pie, Plugo se vuelve loco, abraza a su compañero. Dios, asesinato cuádruple a favor de KMB.
I love it. The guys were celebrating with their teammates that were already dead as the other people were pushing into the Nexus. That's probably something I would do. I'd be up out of my chair at that point.
Yeah, I think that was pretty awesome. I do want to point out, though, the Draven Penta was a gift. The Bard got away for sure, and I was like, I'll just walk back and give it to you. So I appreciate, you know, the sportsmanship, but that was a gift. That was not an earned Penta kill.
You're a rough one, man.
I'm a bad person.
Okay, guys, you know the drill. Whenever you see a big play, hit us up at LOL Esports with the hashtag #ThePenta, and we'll make sure you'll get the best of the best every week.
Now, you guys have heard of pro tips, but we thought we'd share with you some of our very best throw tips for this last hit.
Our first throw tip is all about flashing and getting over walls. Now, if you're going to burn your flash to try and escape, make sure you don't get over the wall. It'll confuse your opponents.
Chaos Storm onto Shrimp. He is taking a lot of damage. There's the Chrono Shift.
That's going to time out, buddy. You are in a very...
Oh, he doesn't make it over the wall.
Spot on. When you're caught in a sticky situation and about to give up first blood, never burn your summoners. Instead, execute yourself on the nearest tower, but make sure you do it within 15 seconds.
He's looking to get the execute timer, actually. He thinks it's been long enough, but it's 15 seconds.
We're gonna find out. It is not! Xmithy gets first blood.
That's the ticket. Now, when you see a Nidalee Spear coming at you from downtown, whatever you do, don't run to the side. Make sure you run in a straight line and take that bad boy at max range.
I feel like these people have not played against Alawi before. They gotta dodge that.
And a spear is gonna find Frog, and Okyu goes in. He's gonna look for hard, find some damage. Oh my gosh, that spear landed!
Great catch. Got to be the Isotoners. That's all the throw tips we have for this week. Now get hyped for LCS. There's plenty more throws to come.